Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be going over some characters that are going to be coming to the game in the brand new Allegiance Winter Kingdom. This was a little teaser Allegiance icon that we saw on the Discord. We did talk about on my stream earlier this week, and it is going to be a brand new Allegiance that is going to have quite a few characters in it. Of course, it's going to be attached to an event, effectively the Christmas event, so stay tuned for more information on that on my channel. But first we're going to be going over 3 characters that are going to be joining the Winter Kingdom. This is just going to be a little sneak peek at these characters. I will be doing my usual preview videos once I get my hands on these guys. So the first character we're going to be looking at is actually going to be the character award for the upcoming Christmas event. His name is Winter Benjamin, and I don't think we've had one of him before. Visually he looks pretty cool. He's got obviously a lot of warm gear on. It's going to be very cold in the Winter Kingdom. And he's got a, what's that? Not a surfboard, it's a snowboard. It's a snowboard, half a snowboard or most of a snowboard. And it's got bladed objects attached to it. Looks pretty brutal, could be very effective against those walkers. On the left hand side you can actually see a walker that has like a little Christmas hat on and stuff like that. That's actually pretty cool. Now on this screen you can see that this character is going to have the specialist skill Confounding, which means that when they hit a critical attack, they will be able to confuse an enemy on that attack, and that is obviously going to be some control, which is going to play into the rest of the kit as well. As we move across to the Adrenaline Rush, it is called Shred 'em, and it is make 2 attacks against a line of enemies for 350% damage, 700% total each. Those enemies get minus 75% attack for 2 turns. So that should potentially be 2 times 350% twice. So it should be actually pretty good damage. It obviously can crit. It obviously can, if it does crit, confuse. So that's actually going to be effectively a little bit of control on that rush potentially as well. It's 66 AP, upgrade as you can see below, but that looks like actually pretty decent when it comes to the effectiveness of the Adrenaline Rush, and it plays into the specialist skill. So basically, like I say, it makes it a bit more of a controlling one. This character is a controller too, so has more chance to actually hit the control, has obviously more chance to bypass the crit resistance, so that's actually going to be pretty good too. The next part is called Board Bash. This is the signature move. It is a turn 1 signature move, cooldown of 1 turn. Attack an enemy for 400% damage, 700% if that enemy has debilitating status effects. So obviously that's actually pretty cool. When I get my hands on this character and I can test it out, I'll see if it actually takes into account the fact that this guy applies the confuse on his special skill, like at what point. I'm guessing it's not going to count, because obviously he has to hit the enemy for the confuse to land, and if he hasn't hit the enemy yet, he's not going to be able to land the confuse, and then obviously, yeah, I'm guessing it's not going to be 700% from his own confuse, but obviously you can have other characters that do controls, so on and so forth. And you can see the upgrades of this below. Like I say, we'll test this out once I get my hands on this character. Now the last bit of the main part of Benjamin's kit is going to be the passes. We'll move on to the weapon because he has got an attached weapon, but he is going to be getting precision because he is a control character. 40% lower resistances against this guy. The next one is called Stealing Gear. At the start of each turn, 100% chance a random enemy gets disarmed for 2 turns. This is actually kind of nice because he's a strong character. We have seen a disarm come out recently that is tough, so it's going to be a little bit, you know, a bit of diversity there. And I think there is this kind of like an option to use a fairly heavy, strong team right now. And he's going to be adding something that that team doesn't have, which is Disarm, which is actually kind of cool. The next one is called Concussed. When this character performs their specialist skill, 60% chance a random enemy gets confused for 3 turns. This is actually really crazy because Confounding in itself isn't that amazing. It's okay, it's quite nice. But this is crazy, especially when he rushes. Again, I'm going to have to test this out. But that potentially means he could confuse an entire team for 3 turns if he hits 4 crits. Because he'd confuse the 2 characters that he's attacking in that line. And then every single time he does that, there's a 60% chance that he can confuse another enemy for 3 turns. That's actually potentially really, really powerful. And the last one is called Brace the Cold. At the start of each turn, 100% chance a random enemy gets minus 10% defense for each fighter on the enemy team with a debilitating status effect. And it lasts for 2 turns. So this is, again, really nice because it can go up to, what, 50%? You know, minus 50% defense is actually really, really heavy. And that could be really nice indeed in any team, honestly. It could work in any team. You'd obviously have to get as many status effects out as possible. But if you run someone like William on an attack team, he dazes 3 characters, and that's going to be minus 30% defense. So that's actually pretty crazy. Not to mention, of course, that Benjamin himself does a bit of control as well. Now, lastly, he has got an attached weapon, and it is Winter Benjamin's broken snowboard. So it is, it's a broken snowboard. It's not a surfboard. That would not have made sense. It has got 40% attack, a huge bonus to AP when attacking, improved healing stun. When attacking, a 60% chance to stun the enemy and regain 25% HP for 2 turns. And in the last slot, it has an improved ransack. We have had one of these before. I think it's actually the weapon in the current store. It's very nice. Attack still 3 positive effects from the enemy you hit. So obviously you can replace this if you want. You can just put a weapon in his hand straight away. It is an improved version of the healing stun, so it has a 60% chance to stun. And obviously because he is a control character, they have a 40% reduction to resist. So it is actually going to work quite nicely with his kit. And that's actually pretty cool. And that rush will have 4 potential chances to apply that, as well as, when he crits. So those characters are in a lot of trouble when it comes to being controlled, for sure. I like this weapon quite a lot. It's going to be interesting to see what the animation is going to look like. Now, the next character is called Winter Madison, and she is going to be an advanced mythic release. And I believe she's going to be released pretty much as soon as the event starts. So this one's going to be available quite early. Now, we have had a Madison in the game before. I think we've had a couple, and I remember the original was like Madison with the good hair. She had really nice looking hair, and she's still got the hair, but she's kind of in that winter gear. She's looking pretty cool, and as you can see, she's got the goggles. She's an alert character, which I think she's had an alert version before. She has not got an attached weapon, but on the left-hand side, you can see a very nice looking pistol there, so maybe we'll get that released in the future. Now, when you look at her specialist, she is a Guardian 2. That's something to take into note. That is actually a pretty decent specialist for various parts of the game, including attack teams, potentially defense teams. We'll have to see what her stat balance is like. Now, when we look at this character's adrenaline rush, it is called Plow Through. Remove 100% of the current bonus HP from a line of enemies. Make a critical attack against that line of enemies for 300% damage each. And then as you can see the upgrades below, this isn't an amazing rush in terms of damage, but if you think about a character that potentially could have 120,000 HP, with full bonus HP, they've effectively got 240,000. This 100% removal is like she just hit them for 120k as a support character. That's actually really good, as she's a medic as well, so she's not going to be doing crazy damage, but this is to set it up for your teammates. And because this is going to be 2 guaranteed crits, obviously they can resist, but this is going to be 2 guaranteed crit potentials because it's actual like critting both of those enemies. That means that her specialist skills has 2 chances to proc. It can only proc once, but it has 2 chances, so that's actually pretty good. She's also 55 AP, so she will not need AP on attack. You can maybe craft a very unique weapon for her on an attack team. It's completely up to you. Now, moving on to the signature move, it is called Ramping Precision. It is a turn 1 signature move. It has a cooldown of 2 turns. Attack 2 enemies for 200% damage. 75% damage for each fighter on the enemy team with a debilitating status effect. So again, this can stack up massively. If there are 5 characters that have got a debilitating status effect, this is going to be able to go up to, I believe, 375% extra damage. So it should potentially be, well, I don't know if they would add together to make it 575, or if it would be like 200% plus 375%, and then it would be 375% of 200%. So it could potentially expand even higher. But obviously, the more debilitating status effects, the more potential damage output from her turn 1 signature move. So if you manage to get like characters, again, putting down status effects straight away, this is going to be very effective. And you can see the upgrades below. It doesn't show but what limit break the last one is, but I believe that's going to be a 50% boost to that damage for each fighter with an enemy with a debilitating status effect. And I will check out the full rundown of the upgrades and so on and so forth on my actual full preview of Madison in the future. Now, lastly, because Madison doesn't have an attached weapon, we're going to look at her passives, and you can see that she has got Spirit, where she's obviously going to be able to, give bonus HP whenever she does any healing. None of her kit does healing so far, so it's kind of weird she's a medic. We'll see what else is in here. The next part says, at the start of each wave, 100% chance all teammates heal for 20% of their max HP for 3 turns. All Winter Kingdom Allegiance teammates heal an additional 30% of their max HP for 3 turns. So if a Winter Kingdom character is in the team, it's going to be 50%, I would assume. Whether, again, they could potentially stack together or be separate. I'm not actually sure. I guess they would stack together. Hopefully the animation is fixed there, because we have had animation issues, I believe, with Nor, where it slows down you know, attacks and stuff like that. I can't actually remember. I generally destroy Nora pretty quick, but you can run into issues if she gets a lot of, you know, turns of her heal over time. This is actually pretty nice. And now it is worth noting that I don't believe that this will give bonus HP based off of Spirit. So far Spirit isn't working at all, which is kind of weird. Unless she's going to have a weapon that heals, this is going to be not giving any bonus HP. Again, I'll test it out when we get a preview of this character. The next passive is called Dizzy Chill. When attacking, 50% chance to daze the enemy for 1 turn. So effectively, she's kind of got 2 specialist skills. She's almost got Head Cracker to a certain extent as well, which is actually pretty interesting. The last passive is called Hearty Shields. When this character heals, 100% chance all teammates get bonus HP equal to 15% of this character's max HP. That is actually really good, because for the first 3 turns she is going to heal, but after that she doesn't heal. And again, Spirit's not going to be used in any part of her kit, I think, which is actually kind of crazy. Unless I'm wrong about the second passive, we'll have to check that out again, like I say, when we get a preview of the character. So pretty interesting character. I think it comes down to how this is actually going to work out when it comes to that passive. I hope that it's not going to be another character like Garrett that just doesn't take advantage of the role at all. It would have just been better making her support character in that case. But otherwise, she looks pretty decent as a character that is not necessarily there for the damage, but she's going to be quite effective. She can remove a lot of bonus HP. She can potentially hit quite hard on that signature move as well. We're going to have to get a lot of characters in the team with her to get lots of early control. I think you only have to hit each character once, and then she'll obviously get the extra bonuses. But yeah, you're going to have to be getting quite a lot of control on all the enemies to get that big bonus of 375% extra attack. Now the last character we're going to look at is Winter Marcus. Now I do believe this character is going to be a release in the advanced wheel as well, and he's going to be weeks away. I don't think he's going to be anytime soon, so my previous character won't be for a little while. I'll try and make it nearer the time just because, you know, it's more relevant at that point. But Winter Marcus looks pretty cool. We have had different Marcuses in the past, but I guess this is the one that used to be like a tough character, that sort of thing. I don't think it's the Marcus that's... Is it the Marcus that's in the game right now? I mean, I guess it could be the Mythic Marcus that's part of the kingdom. I mean, that would make a lot of sense, but this one looks a lot less ragged. That one looks a lot more ragged, I guess. Visually, kind of cool. On the left-hand side, you can see it's got an attached weapon. It's like a... I'm not actually sure what that is. Like a big tool of some kind. You definitely just don't want to get hit in the face with that. But on the right-hand side, you can see it's not got an attached weapon. He's a fast character as well. It looks kind of strong, but he's actually a fast character. And you can see he's not a specialist. He's got a leader skill, which we will check out later in the video. But first, we'll just check out the Adrenaline Rush, and it's called Lost and Confused. 2 enemies in the back row get confused for 2 turns. 3 other enemies get 75% heal reduction for 2 turns. So again, it's going to be controlling pretty much the entire team in this scenario when he rushes, which is very good for the likes of Benjamin and Madison. But this is on the Adrenaline Rush. As much as it is quite quick, it's a 55 AP cost rush. Means he doesn't need any AP on attack. He can just get extra stuff, extra stats, so on and so forth. It's up to you. But when this goes off, there's going to be controlling everybody. However, it is worth noting that actually only 2 of those are debilitating. Only the Confuse is going to count towards, I think, some of those debilitating status effect required passives. So maybe it isn't as powerful as I initially thought. But the 75% heal reduction is nice. It's going to stop certain things like heal over time. It's going to stop things proccing certain specialist skill like overheal in terms of being as powerful. So yeah, that's not too bad at all. Now, he has got a signature move, and it's called Incapacitate. It's a turn 1 sig with 3 turn cooldown. Stun an enemy for the rest of combat. So this is pretty much going to be like Trader, but instead of doing Confused for the rest of combat, it's going to be Stun for the rest of combat. Now, there is obviously a little bit of cheese you can do against this on a defense team where you can have defense while stunned, but there are characters that do immense damage against stunned targets. I believe Brutus, and I 100% know for sure Raven. So he could stun a character for the rest of combat, and then those characters could just line up their initial attacks on them, or like their secondary attacks on those characters without too much of a problem. Or if there's a character that's just an issue when it comes to just getting off their signature moves and stuff like that, you could just make sure that they're not getting in AP, they're not getting in off any annoying stuff like that, and it's not too bad. It has got a reasonably long cooldown, so it is pretty decent. But yeah, this is going to be able to go off turn 1 on an attack team, and you can just target the character that you hate the most, basically. Now, this character does, of course, have 4 passives, and they are a control character, but I haven't got the first one in the screenshot. And it is going to be precision, of course, 40% reduced resistances against this character, as all controllers have. Then the first actual, unique passive is called Winter Resistant. At the start of each wave, 100% chance all teammates get 60% taunt resistance for 2 turns, and all Winter Kingdom Allegiance members get 60% stun and daze resistance for 2 turns. So this is actually pretty good. Lots of resistances in there. Now, the next one is called Precise Guidance. At the start of each wave, all teammates get 200 crit for 1 turn, 2 turns if they are in the Winter Kingdom Allegiance. Now, this is kind of interesting. It's not like 100% crit chance, or like any sort of crit damage bonuses, but it's giving you a better chance to hit crits. It will last for 2 turns like it says, which I guess is okay. Some of these characters are relying on crit so far that we've seen, which is going to be Madison and Benjamin. We don't know the other characters, so at the moment, but if they rely on crit too, this is obviously going to be ultra effective against potentially making those characters actually utilize those specialist skills to a higher standard. Now, 200 crit doesn't mean 100% chance, but it is pretty decent. It's going to be up there, it's going to be over 65%, I would assume, over 75%. And this is on top of things like 1535 weapons that you have on the characters, so on and so forth. It's going to be very helpful for Benjamin, especially just because Benjamin has got a weapon that doesn't have any crit bonuses on it because of the ransack, so you can kind of rely on this in a team with Marcus just to get the initial crit off, which is going to be useful. The last passive is called Adaptive Nature. At the start of each turn, 100% chance all fast and alert teammates get 10% AP for each fighter on the enemy team with a debilitating status effect, and all strong and tough teammates get 100% damage over time reduction for 1 turn. So this means that those fast and alert characters potentially, and that would include Marcus himself, could get 50% AP at the beginning of their turn if the enemy team are all having, debilitating status effects. Strong and tough only get the damage over time reduction, which is okay. It's nice enough, I guess, but obviously the AP bonus is very nice indeed. Right now, we know that Madison is going to be alert, and we know that Marcus is going to be fast, so they're going to get the AP bonus, and Benjamin is going to be strong, so he's going to get the damage over time reduction when it comes to Winter Kingdom. Obviously, characters that exist in the game already, they're already going to be able to take bonuses from this, and that includes the likes of Sophia, that includes the likes of Agent 46, and obviously, Kenny, damage dealers that, getting AP in their hands quickly as possible is going to be very nice. Now, Winter Marcus is a leader, of course, and we'll read through it. It says Winter Kingdom Allegiance teammates get 50% attack, all other teammates get 40% attack. So this is pretty similar to the Traders, and Traders is very nice. It's very good for people who aren't part of his allegiance, but it's just a little bit better for people who are, and that's very nice indeed. I think Winter Marcus is going to work even if you don't use characters that are part of the Winter Allegiance. He's going to be useful just because that last passive doesn't target specifically his allegiance. But obviously his allegiance is going to get slight better bonuses if they are in his team just because of this leader skill, and I think one of those passives as well. So that was just a sneak peek at these 3 characters, and like I said, we'll get a better idea of how these things work exactly, the order of operations, so on and so forth, when I get a full preview out of these characters, the gameplay mechanics and so on and so forth. I would expect the ones on Benjamin and Madison to be reasonably soon. The one for Marcus will be in a little bit of time just because he's not getting released instantly. Now, if you have any thoughts on these characters or the Winter Allegiance as we see them so far, let me know in the comments down below. Hopefully, if there is some information on the current new event, I will have a link on your screen right now. But I want to thank you very much for tuning into this video. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.